reacting to new reports linking the coronavirus to a lab in China. Listen.
Do you feel vindicated?
Well, I said it right at the beginning. That's where it came from. I think it was obvious to smart people that's where it came from. I have no doubt about it. I had no doubt about it. I was criticized by the press because China has a lot of people taken care of. They took care of Hunter. They took care of Joe. They took care of everybody, didn't they? And people didn't want to say China. Usually they blame it on Russia. It's always Russia, Russia, Russia. But I said right at the beginning, it came out of Wuhan.
And joining us now to discuss, former longtime advisor to President Trump, Bruce LeVell. Great to see you, Bruce.
Yeah, happy Wednesday. How's it going?
So how'd you like seeing the former president last night? What did you think?
Well, I always enjoy seeing him. I spent time with him last week. But listen, a lot of us, co-sign exactly what President Trump said about where this virus originated from in Wuhan. Listen, I've been involved in ministry most of my life, and especially missionary work. And I'm just going to put this right here. If you really want to get some great intel on world views in terms of what's going on, is talk to missionaries, because you will get some really, and all my missionary friends were saying all along, because they do missions in China and Africa and all over the world, had told me the same thing the president said. And you remember, he has access to the largest intelligence agency as commander-in-chief when he was in the Oval Office, too, in addition to that. Plus, you got to remember, now, President Trump is formally, in his private life for 40 years, has traveled the world, and has a lot of relationships, across the world. And I think that's really, respectfully, what made him a great president. As you know as well as I do, when you run for office, whether it be Congress or Senate or president, it's based on your life experiences, your exposure to people, your exposure to other countries and cultures, what makes you really great in leadership. So I feel all along, and I said all along, that this is where this unfortunate virus originated from, based on my intel, not to mention what President Trump has always said from day one, Heather.
Mm-hmm. Bruce, where did you see the president last week, and what did you all talk about?
We were at his office, Mar-a-Lago, and just a lot of things. First of all, it's good to always see him. He was in great shape. When I say awesome shape, I was very happy, very calm, just doing his thing, phones ringing, doing his business. Like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Haven't skipped a beat. But, just a lot of different things as it relates to, how, really President Biden has just really went out personally and unraveled some great policies. And we're just all scratching our head, like, why in the world would you unravel something that's working very well? And it's so sad, because all of this is just a personal vendetta against the president. And y'all see out there, the reason what makes these people like Liz Cheney and many others angry is because it's just personal. Well, I just don't like him. I'm like, well, do you like the policies? Do you like where the economy and where the country was under the administration? Well, yeah, but I don't like him. I mean, well, come on. And this is all I've been getting from, just people who are just like against him. And it's sad. And the Biden administration really needs to wake up, because things are getting out of hand, and just really just look at some of the great positive policies, the wall, the Middle East, the Golan Heights, as you saw him talk about that with Steve and Jen, about how successful that was to bring, more economic development. Listen, you got to remember one thing about President Trump, and this is all Newsmax viewers. The man is a businessman and is successful, and he's had some gains, he's had some losses. We're talking about from a large scale, skyscrapers, what have you, developments, golf development, he's had some great successes.
Yeah, and in reference to being a good businessman, and in reference to things that people probably aren't going to like a little bit more than they didn't like his personality, inflation. This is what President Trump had to say about inflation under the Biden administration. Listen.
Inflation is going to be a big problem. It's going to drive a lot of things up and down, whichever is worse, because bad things happen with inflation. But you see that happening all over. Lumber, the cost of lumber, the cost of gasoline. You look at gasoline, what's happened. I was at 287, was high. That's when I got involved. And it was in the 3s and a little bit in the 4s. And then I came in and I had it under $2. I had it for $1.87 actually, and when I left it was under $2 substantially, and now it's it's going to be hitting $4. And that's bigger than any tax increase you can think of, especially for middle-income people.
Across the board, inflation hits everyone, and prices are up.
Yeah. Well, it affects, look, consumer confidence. I'm a business guy here in Atlanta for 27 years, and I've said it on your show and Bob that what generates the economy is consumer confidence. And consumer confidence comes when you have, faith in your leadership, which starts in the forefront, which President Trump had, which helped the stock markets. You saw our GDP growth. You saw the businesses rise up. You saw minority businesses spike up in the largest in the history in the United States under his administration. Gas was down $1.87, which he said. And here we are. We were oil independence, and now we're spiking up towards $3. And I guarantee you will be, I hope we're not, towards $4 a gallon here in the summer months when this is the first time, families are starting to get open and get out and go see their loved ones. They're going to try to get on the road and go do their vacations. And they're going to be, faced with, like he said, possible inflation and $4 gas. So this is some serious business, and I hope the Biden administration takes a close look at this and stop all this hating, this haterade, as you want to call it, and look back at the balance sheet, look back at the plan back in the 4 years, say, did this work? Did this line item here was this really good for the American people? And they need to be honest with the American people, especially on the tax cuts that Trump did. Listen, my very own employees showed me their check. They said, "Oh, did y'all make a mistake?" I said, "No, that's FICA." FICA means you have more, it's less in there versus a higher rate in there, which is more discretionary money to spend, going out in the movies. It stimulates the economy.
Yeah. Can make a difference. So,
it can make a difference.
I remember back in the Reagan era, what a big difference that made when they could back there. Unbelievable. I did want to get your thoughts on this. Steve Cortez asked the president what he believed the Biden administration is really after with their so-called open border agenda.
What is the left, Joe Biden, his allies, what are they really after with this open borders lunacy?
They're going to destroy this country. And forget about the children. They have people coming in from prisons. They have rapists. They have murderers. They have drug dealers. They have human traffickers, and they traffic in women mostly, which nobody likes to say. They traffic in women. They have people, the worst people anywhere in this hemisphere in the world, coming into this country unchecked, being released in our country. And yeah, they are. They're releasing people in Tennessee. That never happened with me.
Right.
That's why Tennessee likes me. But they're releasing them in areas that it's horrible what's happening.
So,
yeah,
Bruce?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, you saw where they wrote up to $86 million just to put illegal, immigrants in hotels, and the list goes on. And this is another grab to, I guess, in their minds, they're trying to get their voter base, if you want to say that, at the backs of the American people and the taxpayers. Listen, I lived in Texas. My dad, we were from Fort Hood. I got many friends down there in Laredo, El Paso, Fort Bliss, in that area. I know a lot about this. The best antidote for combating sex trafficking and bringing drugs across the border is a strong, comprehensive border plan, meaning walls, putting money, resources, and letting people know, look, you're not going to come over here, because if you do, then there's going to be consequences. And you saw, even on Newsmax reported, and I think Jen went down the border and showed that the coyotes were bragging, saying, well, business is open. It's open for business. Business is good. That's terrible. So, listen, the president's absolutely right. And I pray and I hope that he will consider 2024.
Yeah.
A little biased.
Bruce, you have a landline?
Yeah.
Is that,
yeah, I got every line.
the phone ringing there.
Yeah.
Sounds like an old-fashioned phone.
Yeah, but you can't answer that yet, though, Bruce, because you were just talking about the possibility of 2024. You were able to witness President Trump's new Trump Force One. We have a picture of you standing next to it. Tell us a little bit about this. I know that he's about to go back out on, can you call it the campaign trail? For 2022, he's going to make a stop in North Carolina first, right? June 5th?
Yeah. Well, this is early June of 2015. This is the original.
Oh.
And my tweet was like, stay tuned, because he's going to change the engines out, the really cool Rolls-Royce engines. remodify it and everything. And so it's coming. And I will tell you, it was a great privilege to fly around with him and open rallies, et cetera. And that's John, his pilot, by the way, great guy for 20-something years, his private pilot. And, I'm excited about it because going into 2022 and going around the countries and advocating for good congressional people and Senate seats and et cetera, gubernatorial runs and whatever, I'm really excited and happy of that. And it's a blessing for the president to have those type of resources that he can navigate and move around at his leisure. So,
all right, so we'll have to wait to see the new Trump Force One, but we will stay tuned for that. Bruce, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great. Well, coming up, the Texas Senate just approved a bill allowing Texans to carry hand